What's going on, gamers? Today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 tips that help me break out of Plat and hit the higher ranks in under 2 weeks. So if you feel like Plat is impossible to get out of, this is the video for you. With that being said, let's get right into it. So now that you're in Platinum, I'm going to assume that your mechanics are good, so I won't be talking about those. Instead, I'll be sharing 3 things that I think will actually help you improve and climb out of Platinum in no time. You've most likely realized that people are actually good at the game now, and they will be punishing you for your mistakes. Platinum is arguably the hardest rank to get out of. A lot of Plat players take the game seriously and want to improve, win games, and rank up. Not only that, but you will most likely be running into a lot of smurfs who just want to see the world burn, which means that strictly relying on your mechanics won't cut it anymore. The first thing that I fixed was learning when to aggress and when not to aggress. A huge problem that people have in Valorant is overheating, and there are 2 different types of overheating. Number 1 is where you get a couple kills and then you continue to push forward, and most of the time you will die for this, losing the advantage you created and inevitably doing nothing for your team. When in reality, what you should have done is after you got those couple kills, you should be falling back and playing numbers with your team. This way, it is almost inevitable that you don't lose the round, because if you play together, you can just trade each other's out, play numbers, and win. The second type of overheating is when you start playing really well, you win a couple rounds, maybe you get a couple aces, and then you feel like you're untouchable, leading you to swing on everything and die for absolutely nothing. This is especially useless on defense, and it all comes down to ego and self-awareness. Just because you're playing well does not mean you can win every fight, and it sure as hell doesn't mean you should just be swinging on everything like a chimp. Now, there's nothing wrong with being confident and taking gunfights, but you need to know when to do it and when not to. On defense, the only time you should be taking aggressive fights or pushing for kills is on an eco round, because you have nothing to lose already, the enemy might not expect it, and you could end up winning a round you shouldn't. However, if you're on a buy and the enemy is on eco, do not be a chimp and push aggressive. If you die and lose your weapon, you are putting your team at a massive disadvantage for no reason. For example, if you're on defense and you swing at the beginning of a round and 3 people peek you and you die, you are throwing. Even if you get 1, you're still throwing. Instead, hold an off angle and wait for the attacking team to push you. There's no reason for you to get aggressive because you're playing against the clock. It's the attackers that have to push you, not the other way around. Now, if you're on attack, it's a little bit different. You can be aggressive a little more often, but you still have to be smart about it. Make sure that you're pushing with your utility and you're not just blind peeking corners, and always pay attention to the enemy's economy and their alt economy. If the enemy team can buy an op, you probably shouldn't be swinging angles. Instead, you should try to bait out a shot or push them off with your utility. Also, don't be predictable and peek the same thing all the time. Make sure that you're constantly switching up your playstyle and when you're peeking and at what time and how aggressively you are playing. This is going to throw the enemy team off guard, and you're going to win a lot more rounds because they can't predict what you're going to do. And if the enemy is on an eco round, play with your team. Don't go off and lurk mid or anything like that, as again, you don't want to end up dying and giving the enemy team a gun, because this could lead you to losing a round that you should have won without any problems. Also, keep in mind your level of aggression should come down to the agent you're playing and the role you have for your team. So if you're a duelist, you should always be the most aggressive on the team, and if you're an initiator, you can be the second most aggressive. But if you're a controller or a sentinel, you should be playing back and playing your life, because your utility is extremely important, especially later in the rounds. So depending on your role, make sure you're adjusting your playstyle so that you can get the most out of your agent and their kit. Now, keep in mind, there are exceptions to this rule, but you are in Plat, so don't let your ego get to you and think you're good enough to get away with them. Instead, play smarter so that you can win more easy rounds, and then once you start to get better, then you can start experimenting with how aggressive you want to play. The second thing that helped me get out of Platinum was communication. Now that you're in Plat, you can't just run around and take aim duels. The enemy team is most likely going to be communicating together, making set plays, using utility, and baiting for each other, which means you should be doing the same thing or you're going to get absolutely steamrolled. Now, with that being said, sometimes people on your team are going to be shy and they won't want to communicate. So take the initiative, and as soon as you queue in, say what's up, be nice, and try to bring the vibes up. This way you can break the ice and have everyone feeling good about the game and wanting to communicate with each other. But if you don't do this, then your whole team might end up saying nothing, and it's going to be very hard for you to win. Now, if you are talking and you are trying to bring the vibes up and your team still isn't calming that much, that's okay too. Just do your best to shot call and come up with set plays, and most of the time your team will listen to you even if they don't want to say anything. Ask them to smoke for you, flash for you, bait for you, anything like that. Just because they don't want to talk doesn't mean that you should. This can lead you to not only win more games, but also learn how to communicate better, come up with plays, and improve much faster. So even if the game is unwinnable, you're still improving, and that's what matters. Do your best to communicate with your team what you're doing or what you want to do before the round starts and during each round. And if you are dead, do not backseat game. Instead, you can give useful callouts like how much ammo someone has left, how much utility they have and how long it's going to take to get it back, where you saw the enemy last, only if it's going to help them, or how much HP the enemy has left if you have hit them. Those are the only things you should be saying after you die. Other than that, let your teammate play the game, because after all, they're in the same rank as you, so give them the respect that you would want. And if you stay respectful and try to encourage your team and bring the vibes up even when they're playing bad, you will end up boosting morale, helping your team play better individually and together, which will in turn have you winning more games, even some games that seemed unwinnable at the start. But quickly, before I give you the last tip that will help you fly straight through Plat into Diamond, what is your favorite Phantom skin? Mine's the green Oni one. Let me know in the comments down below. The third and arguably the most important tip that I can give you to help you climb out of Platinum is to not tilt queue and know when to take breaks. Now, I know you want to grind and make it into Diamond, but sometimes playing more isn't always the best option. While it is true that you need to play more to improve, sometimes you're going to find yourself playing and doing nothing but throwing your own elo. And this is normal. It happens to everyone. There are a lot of outside factors that can affect your performance for the day. So if you log in for the day and you're not playing your best and you lose your first 1 or 2 games, do not queue and continue to throw your games. Instead, get up, take a break, relieve some stress, and do something for yourself. The best thing for you to do would be to go and get some sort of exercise in. This will help calm you down, increase your overall energy levels, release some endorphins, helping improve your mood and your overall health, which can have a direct impact on your in-game performance. So take your break, go to the gym, and when you get back, you can queue into a deathmatch or an unrated and see if you're playing better. If you are, then you can consider jumping back into competitive. If not, then don't worry about it. Don't queue into comp and go do something else. And if you really want to play Valorant, then you can queue into a different game mode, or you can jump onto an alt account and play there. Just don't queue into comp and purposely throw your games just because you want to rank up. This will do nothing for you, but hinder your progress and make it even harder for you to hit Diamond. Also, if you struggle with tilting, go check out my How Not to Tilt video. It'll be suggested at the end of this one, and it'll give you a more in-depth way on how to control your mental and rank up even faster. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got any value out of this video, or you want to see videos like this in the future, feel free to hit that like button, sub to the channel, and ring that bell notification so that you can stay ahead of every other gamer and unlock your full potential. Much love, guys. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one.